Hello, welcome to Gen Z Finance. I'm an older Gen Z on the cusp of being a young millennial here on YouTube, documenting my financial journey. Today's video, it is the end of March. Finally, I feel like this month was so long, and so at the end of every month, I always kind of close out my budget in YNAB and walk through a couple steps, which I will do with you all, and just go over my income, spending, and saving for the month. So I have these 7 steps that I take at the end of every single month, and I've already completed steps 1 and 2, which is to reconcile my on-budget and my tracking accounts. I did that before I started filming this off camera just to save time. And then step 3 is to review my budget to make sure there's not any overspending and then move money around as necessary. So what I'm looking for here is just in the available column and making sure there's no yellow, orange, or red, that it's all green or this light gray, because that means that everything is budgeted for and that there is no overspending. And there shouldn't be any overspending. I believe I covered any overspending I did have as it happened throughout the month, so that looks good. And so the second part of this step is to move money around as necessary. So for this, I sometimes like to go into the next month, which is April, and see what my starting balances in all of my categories are going to be for April, and then move the money out as I want. So you can see I currently have $165 available for the beginning of April, but I actually need no more than $100 at the beginning of any single month. So I'm actually going to move this $65 to be budgeted. And I did want to point out that I do now have the recent moves or the money moves tracking in YNAB. It is a new feature that they rolled out in March, and I think it should be rolled out to everyone now, but if you don't see it yet, just maybe wait a couple of days, you should see it soon. And this allows you to review all of the recent moves you've had in between categories and from to be budgeted to other categories. For other miscellaneous though, I don't need $140.60 in here. So I think I'm going to actually move the $40.60 up to be budgeted as well. Okay, everything else looks good there. Oh, I'm gonna jump into March for this next one. And so I believe I talked about this in my last video, but I actually have extra money in this brokerage line item. Right now, there should only be $50 left over available for the end of March. And I put this extra money in this line item to help cover any month where maybe something happens and I couldn't fund this category $50. But I don't actually like how I ended up doing that, because it makes me think that I have more money available to invest this month than I actually do, because that $150 is actually supposed to be a buffer. So I'm going to move this $150 to this 2 months ahead fund. So we're going to say okay on that. And then if I come down here, you can see that added some money into this category. So there is still $50 in here, and there shouldn't be, because there were 5 Mondays in March. So I should have had $250 come out of my checking account and go into my M1 Finance. Long story short, the scheduled transaction is now paused. I am in the process, or I'm thinking about actually moving my brokerage from M1 Finance, who I've really enjoyed. I've talked about them a lot on my channel, on my Instagram, and I do like them. But for the sake of kind of simplicity, I am considering actually moving my brokerage over to Vanguard, where I have my IRA. So for now, I've decided to pause my scheduled transactions to M1, and I might actually be routing this money into my Vanguard brokerage account. And so with this 105.6, we're going to move that to holding as well, but it's not going to stay in holding for long, because March is the end of Q1, and how I kind of handle this holding category is any leftover money or any extra money that I'm really just not sure what to do with. I know some of this included a bank bonus I got for opening up a new checking and savings account with Chase, and it also includes, like you saw, like money left over at the end of the month when we moved money around and took out excess money that I didn't want to roll forward. So the first thing I want to do with this is I want to fully fund this 2 months ahead category. You can see I have $3,250 saved in there, but the goal is $3,500, so this needs another $250. So I'm literally going to move $250 to 2 months ahead. I also want to put some extra money into the travel and trips category, because as of March 28th, I am fully vaccinated and I am just so excited. I know the disease is not going to be over, the pandemic is not over, but I am personally wanting to do some kind of traveling maybe in the second half of this year. So if I jump into April, because April is fully funded, I budget 1 month ahead. So by the end of March, all of April is funded. You can see that I have $1,550 already in travel and trips, and I just kind of want to get this up to a cool 2,000. So we're gonna go back to March and we're gonna move $450 to travel and trips. So that gives me in March $1,850, and again, if we account for the $150 already budgeted in April, that gets us to the $2,000 mark. And then I know it seems a little strange because I did just move money out of this category, but remember I was moving that buffer money into the 2 months ahead category because that made more sense. I do want to put some of this holding money into my brokerage line items. Let's maybe do $450 to brokerage, so that now we have $500 in there, and that still leaves us with $140.50. I currently have $40 in my fun category, and I've been slowly building this fun category back up to $100, so I guess I could fully fund that category. So let's take $60 and move it to fun, and that will be fully funded. I think I kind of want to rename this fun category because it's not really fun, it's like whatever the hell. So I still have $80.50. Let's put another $25 into dining out, which is actually food and drink. I think I'm going to create a new category and we can put this under sinking funds. I'm going to call this post, you know what, socializing. So over the past year, there's just been a couple of things that I've thought about to myself, like, oh my gosh, like after the pandemic ends, I really want to do that, or I think I should make an effort to get involved in this. And so I have a couple of ideas. I think we're gonna take the 5550 and move this to post-COVID socializing. Okay, and just like that, my holding / end of quarter bonus category is now at 0. I have fully budgeted that money. Yeah, I'm really happy about where this went. I'm so excited about this recent moves thing. This is such a good little summary. As a reminder, this is everything we did. We did move some money out of April back into March's holding category, and then from there we put $250 to my 2 months ahead, $450 into travel and trips, $450 into brokerage, $60 into fun or whatever the heck I want, $25 into dining out, and then $55 into a general kind of post-COVID socializing. This is kind of its own little mini holding category, but it works for me for now. I did want to say I don't have any extra money going to giving because I do still have my third stimulus check that is supposed to be showing up. I'm assuming I'm going to get it like the first week in April, and I have already kind of in my head designated some of that to go into extra money for giving. So I kind of kept that in mind when I did my holding. Okay, so all of that done, I covered overspending and I moved money around as I wanted. So step 4 is to review my spending and saving for the month. So there are a couple reports I like to use for this. One of them is this income breakdown in the toolkit reports, which is a Chrome extension that you can add, and it gives you access to a bunch of other features and reports. So this shows March, and you can see my total income for the month was $2,792.04, and 78% of that was my full-time job. I did get $218 from my part-time job, and then I saw almost $400 in interest and cash back, and the majority of that came from Rakuten, and then $300 I got for opening up my Chase checking and savings account. And then the big reason I like this report is you can kind of see the net gain. So this is of the money I brought in, what did I not spend? 30% of what I brought in was not spent this month, so that's really cool, especially considering that really expensive $500 gift. So this just shows what the previous graph shows, but it shows it in a pie chart. 36% of my income this month went to investments, and that was mostly my IRA and then my brokerage. And then giving made up 31% of my spending, and the majority of that was gifts, and then like I mentioned a little bit before, the majority of the gifts was for my sister's wedding, so that was $563, and that was just a donation to her honeymoon fund. But then I also had one of my friend's 24th birthday this month, so Venmoed her $15. 21% of my spending was my responsibility, so that was the bills to my mom. In my sinking funds category, that actually made up 9% of my spending. So I went to European Wax Center to get my eyebrows waxed. I actually ended up prepaying for 12 eyebrow waxing sessions. So this $47.25 is one of 4 payments that I will be making for the next, well, now 3 months, because I already made the first payment. What this pretty much does is it lowers the cost of each session so that I end up paying the price of 9 sessions, but I get 12. Well, I'm not really convinced that I made the right decision to do this, but I did go ahead and do it. So this is a recurring transaction. You will see my budget for the next couple of months. And then under events and holidays, this all has to do with my sister's bachelorette parties. And then finally, the last category, monthly varied living, made up 3% of my spending at just under $60. That was less than $10 in other such miscellaneous, and then about $50 in dining out. You can see some Starbucks, some McDonald's. I purchased Zaxby's for my mom and I for dinner one day, and then I even went to Smoothie King. So in total, I spent $1,927.40. However, if we remove the investment spending and exclude that, because I don't really consider that spending, I consider that saving for the future, I actually only spent $1,227.39. So that was step 4. Step 5 is a net worth check-in, which I will actually be sharing in a separate video that will be coming out on April 5th. So make sure you come back for that video. I will be updating my net worth, reviewing my savings rate for the month. Step 6 is to record any money wins for the month. So I already have some of these written out. Up here you can see this goals, events. So my goal for every month in 2021 is to spend less than $1,250, and I just barely completed this. I spent $1,227.39. In fact, I was planning to donate $50 this month that I budget for every month in donations, and just because I ended up coming so close to going over my spending limit, I'm actually just going to defer that $50 until April. So April 1st, I'm going to make a donation. I also want to, just so when I look back on this spending and wonder, wait, why did I spend so much on gifts? That will give me an idea. And then the other big financial thing that happened this month is I did go ahead and open a Chase Sapphire Preferred card. This did increase my credit line by $6,700. So step 6 is complete, and step 7 is to review next month's budget, to keeping in mind any goals or events that might impact my income or spending for April. For Q2, this is something I'm going to try. I'm going to try to add an additional, I haven't decided if I want to do 10% or 15%, but I want to add an additional 10 or 15% of my total spending for the month to investments that month. And that's going to be on top of the normal $50 a week that I already send to my brokerage account. So for instance, if I was doing this in March, I believe I spent almost, we'll just round up to say $1,230. So if I wanted to do 10%, I would put another $123 into investments. Or if I want to do an extra 15%, that would be a $184.50. This will both incentivize me to keep my spending low for the month, as well as just put more money into investments. And I'm hoping that this will also help keep my holding category from growing quite as large as it did in Q1, because I will be kind of forcing myself to invest that money earlier and quicker as I receive it. Other events for April is, so I will be getting the $1,400 stimulus number 3 check in. I will be doing a budget for that, so make sure you are subscribed to my channel. And I think that's everything I want to put up there. My Amazon Prime membership is due this month, so I do split the cost of Amazon Prime with my mom, so my half is $59, so I have that set aside to pay her this month. So I have $100 available in donations. I plan to make a donation to a organization focusing on Asian American and Pacific Islander hate crimes and violence. One of my goals for Q2 is to also schedule a doctor's visit, as well as finally get new glasses. I also have a dentist appointment in April as well. So I have $600 here for dental and vision expenses, and then I have my full deductible and out-of-pocket max for the year under savings, so I should be covered with all of that, but I need to schedule my doctor's appointment and I need to actually go in and order a new pair of glasses. So I have money set aside for that. I just have to stop being lazy and procrastinating and do it. Time to be an adult. And then otherwise, I think that is everything for April. All right, if you've watched this video up till now, don't forget to like down below and leave me a comment as well. Just to let you know, I will be having my net worth update video coming out later this week, as well as an update on my 2021 financial goals so far now that Q1 has ended. As always, I hope y'all are staying safe and healthy and that you have a good day.